All right, ladies, welcome to this episode of the She Is Extraordinary podcast. Well, I've got to admit, I'm starstruck today. I get to interview a woman I've admired for a while now, Walsh Phillips. Now, I could go on and on for probably an hour or so, Kim, with all the things you've done. But I will tell you this. Kim is the founder of Powerful Professionals, which is a business coaching and education company. She was named, hold on to your hat here, number 475 in the Inc. 5000. She is a multi-seven-figure entrepreneur. She attained this level without a business degree, which I really, really appreciate it. She was named a must-read by those in business by Forbes magazine. She's a best-selling author of a bunch of books. She's spoken around the world. She's coached some of the biggest brands and thought leaders. She's worked alongside the likes of Tony Robbins and Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful himself, and Gary Vaynerchuk. Kim is a boss. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's a woman of faith. Phew. All right. Super impressive resume. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness. It is such a blessing to have you here. So first of all, congrats. I mean, talk about extraordinary. That is the perfect descriptor for you. So how about we start here? How did this empire begin? I'd love to start kind of getting to know the Kim then before you became the Kim of today.
Thank you for asking. I started doing what most people do, going where I knew that a job existed, right? So I started in the PR world and eventually morphed into, I became the head of running events and marketing for our town, which was a great job. And someone came to me and she said she thought I should own my own business and she wanted to be my first client, which was great. And I started doing it evenings and weekends while I did a full-time job. Eventually, when I had enough clients, I launched my business. And I struggled in the beginning because I ran my company the way I saw everybody else doing it, which was that you needed to go out and network and do requests for proposals. And I thought that's how you get clients. It was when I actually started leaning into the gifts that I had that were given to me on purpose with a purpose, which was to speak, write, and coach, that my business took off. And I'm proud to say we were able to grow that company from struggling years ago to a multiple seven-figure firm that I sold. And then when I started my new coaching business 3 years ago, we were able to scale and land on that Inc. 5000 slot within 3 years of opening, following the same things that we found out that worked well in my first business.
I love that. And we're going to talk about that in just a bit because I listened to a prior podcast episode. And so there's a couple things I just want to bring up in that. But right now I want to read a portion of your manifesto that I found online for your Powerful Professionals brand. Ladies, you're going to love this. Okay. Powerful professionals don't make excuses. They make things happen. They don't dream it would be different. They make it different. They know they were not created to fail. They were created to thrive. They're not distracted by the latest shiny object, as so many are, right? They're focused on proven strategies that are in their sweet spot of gifts and talents. Here we go. Last one I'm going to say for now. They know that their passions are not an accident. They are God-given superpowers. And powerful professionals don't wish for change. They are the change. And I just love how, Kim, you insert faith into your manifesto, right? I mean, I'm a firm believer that whether you believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, you cannot succeed in business without faith in something, like commitment to what you're doing and to serve. So I'd love for you to kind of share a little bit about that and talk to us about how faith has played a role in your success.
There are so many moments of uncertainty in every aspect of our life, especially for the life of an entrepreneur, where every single day we're having to try things that we don't know if they're going to work. We might even have a blueprint, but if we follow it, will we get the same results? We have to reach out to people we're unsure about and step into places we're unsure about. And it's scary. And I don't know how people who don't have a faith do it, honestly, because of the fact that while my husband is incredibly supportive, my family is, I'm a member of mastermind programs, I'm part of all the beautiful communities that support me along the way. They're not with me 24/7. And the only thing that is my faith and my belief that God is with me all the time. And so I can lean on that and have that guiding light principle. But also I know that I have it as I call it like my North Star. When I tune into what I'm being called to do, no matter how ridiculous it seems or how crazy pants it is or how outside of my comfort zone it is. When I listen and I follow, amazing things have happened. And so when I can just get out of my own way and go in that way, it's been beautifully incredible when I listen to that little whisper that I'm getting and take that next step. And so why wouldn't I keep doing that? Because it's worked so well up to this point.
Absolutely. Well, in my research, I alluded to earlier, I heard you talk about some down moments on your way to mega success. Two in particular stood out. One was at one point you had to hock your engagement ring to make payroll. Mm-hmm. And the other one is like you were near bankruptcy, so can you speak to that? Because there may be women listening that are in that spot and they're like ready to throw up their hands. What would you say to her?
Well, when my infant daughter was born, she was colicky and I didn't know what it was at the time. She cried a lot and I wrapped her in a blanket and I put her in the pack and play and I pushed it against the refrigerator so she could sleep and the vibration helped her to sleep. Now, this was like the first time I'd taken any time off from work to have a baby. It wasn't like it was a vacation. It was very far from it, but I'd taken time off from work for her. So like I wasn't in that hustle and grind. And I went to get a letter, go through my mail as my daughter was sleeping. And the bank said, hey, Kim, we're taking away your business strategy. Like you've got to change the way you're doing things. What did that letter say? It said they were going to stop covering my overdraft protection. Now I had relied upon overdraft protection in order to keep my business running, which is even saying it now, like, what were you doing? But that's what I was doing because I was constantly in the negative. We would cash flow okay. Like I would have things okay. It would always work out okay. But there were these moments if a check was late or I didn't get a new client that our money would dip. And I was in one of those seasons because I was home with her and I wasn't hustling. And so it was one of those like incredibly dark moments of now I'm not just failing for me, I'm failing for her. And what kind of example am I going to show to my daughter that I can't make a success out of this? I can't serve people in a way that make this work. Now, it gets even a little darker because, I did cry out to God that moment and I did clearly hear, you will turn your mess into your message. So like I knew there was purpose in that moment. So I wasn't just going to throw in the towel, but I needed to tell my husband when he came from work that day what was happening. He also had just made a transition. We were not flush with cash. And he pulled money from his retirement to cover payroll that week. And I say that because that was a very difficult ask for me to make because I had to admit failure. And as entrepreneurs, we want everyone to think everything's okay all the time. And also I knew that he was going to question things more moving forward. And I really liked my independence. So like, I'm just saying all this because this is total transparency here. And he did, rightfully so, because cash flow wasn't going well at that point. So what did I have to do to eventually turn things around? A friend of mine gave me a book and introduced me to the world of direct response marketing. I eventually got to meet the author of that book. I ended up being able to co-author a book with him. He became a client. Like it was amazing. Okay, so let's fast forward. I then started wanting to invest in my business again. I flipped it around. We stopped being in trouble. We started being in cash flow. But then I have my spouse who I had to go to and have him take money out of his retirement fund with penalty to cover payroll one time. Now he sees me investing in my business again. And so for those of you listening right now, you're like, I don't even know how to do that. Like, how would I be able to join a mastermind or a coaching program or buy a course when I have that partner who has seen me fail before? And I couldn't tell him that things were different. That wasn't going to make any difference, right? Words don't. I had to show him how I was different. I had to show him how the business was different. I had to give that certainty for all of his uncertainty. And so now he just joined me on one of my stages a couple of weeks ago and was able to say, actually told that story for the first time. I'd never publicly shared it before. And at the end I said, like, and then you started supporting me. I didn't go to him for permission, but I did go for him for support, saying, I know I'd done this before. Here's what we're doing now. Here's my plan moving forward. Let me show you what we can do with this. And he said, yes. And since then, we've been beautiful partners in all the things. I was able to sell that business, take the family on an incredible suite inside of a cruise ship. It was a multi-level loft with our private butler for an entire week vacation. And
wow, I love it.
Yeah, we never had to pull for the retirement fund again.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to stay there for just one more second. As you were coming out of that low time, two things. What kept you going? Was it your faith? Was it your firm belief that, okay, God said I can do this, so I'm going to do it? And also, like, did you have the moments when you were like, you know what, I don't know if I can do this? Like, how do you break through that fear? Because I know from talking to women every day that a lot of them, it's just hard to get, as you said, get out of your own way.
Yeah, I did focus on faith, but also on that my gifts weren't given to me as accident. They were given to me on purpose with a purpose. And if we look at our gifts and say, I can't, then basically we're saying, meh, God, I know you gave me these awesome things that are awesome, can bless the world, but I don't really got to use them, right? No, like that, we would never say that. But that is really what we're saying when we don't do anything with them. And so I needed to focus on the people I was put on earth to serve, because that was really clear to me. Like, it was literally in that moment that I could see, okay, I'm on this earth to help other people who get clients, get more clients, and stop banging their head against the world, because they have impact to others. And when they can't feed their family, or they can't pay their rent, or they haven't taken a vacation in years for self-care and a day of rest, they're struggling. And if I can't get them past that, if they can't get past that struggle point, they can't ever have the impact they want to have on the world, right? They can't give at will. They can't do for others as they need to, because they're so focused on survival. I have to get them out of survival into thriving. So I was so focused on that individual that, yes, I absolutely had doubts, but it was actually, I felt so strong in that moment. I needed to fix what was happening in that moment. And then I needed to find somebody who had a blueprint, who had already done it, and follow their blueprint. Here's the thing. None of us, when we get up to heaven, are going to get a big hug from God saying, you are so awesome. You wasted all of this time reinventing the wheel. Great job. Like, no, we should not do that. You need to find somebody who's done the thing that you haven't done yet and get their blueprint, buy their program, become part of their mentee, buy a course, take whatever it is, make a workshop. Stop trying to figure everything out yourself. And because we'll never get the time back that we waste doing that. Money will always replace itself. Time never will. So buy yourself time and find someone who's done the thing before that you want to get done.
Yes, amen. I mean, it's not money that's the most precious resource. It's time. And I'm 55. So at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I would have only started my own business like 20 years ago, imagining where I would be right now. So yeah, I love that. All right. Well, let's switch to Clubhouse, because we had talked about that. I really want to talk about that. And you are kind enough to give our listeners a free gift. So stay tuned for the link. I'm going to be giving it also inside the show notes. But let's start here. For those not yet on Clubhouse, or maybe they're on it, but they're not active, why should they consider, as an entrepreneur, spending time there?
It's amazing. My best clients ever have come from either reading one of my books or listening to a podcast. And I believe that to be true, because those that seek information are our most ambitious, action-taking humans on earth. They chose to go somewhere and get information. They chose to take action and read it or listen to it. They chose to take the next step and actually type the URL into a search bar. Like, these are all more difficult things to do. And there's only this small percentage of awesome humans who will do it. And so Clubhouse fits really well into that phase, but it doesn't require you to write an entire book and get it published. And it doesn't require you to do any tech that would be in a podcast. It's real-time listening. So you're able to show up in a platform of early adopter seekers of information and change, which are exactly what you want when it comes to customers of growing your business. It's really fantastic because you can open up a Clubhouse room in a matter of minutes. You can grow a following, you can grow your list. So we had concentrated. I started on Clubhouse on December 31st. I have 13,000 followers. That's not huge though. So I want to say that's good. I mean, it's good, but it's not huge. I'm good friends with people who have 60, 70, 200,000 followers. So, but when I open up a Clubhouse room, I'll get anywhere between 30 to 60 people. I actually had one today. We had 100, which was great, but usually around 30 to 60 people. That group of individuals who comes to my rooms is super qualified. They're right fit clients for my audience. And each week I'll just give massive value, and I give a free gift away every single week, some free course or free download, and I give them a present every week. So we did this 2 weeks before we were going to run a virtual event. We sold 400 tickets to our virtual event. 330 people checked into the virtual event. There were about 200 people on when I made my offer. 63 of them joined my program. That equaled $632,000 in revenue. $300,000 of that came from Clubhouse.
Wow.
2 weeks before the event. I did a Clubhouse room this morning, and we brought in 27 leads. People who direct messaged me or joined our email list, asked about our products, programs, and services. And there's no selling. I'm not selling at all on the platform. I get to just show up and serve, and we get to find beautiful, right fit clients, and our business grows. It's amazing.
That is awesome. So can you give us some tips because obviously, I mean, you say 13,000 is not a lot. I guess admittedly there are some who have like tons more, but that's really an amazing accomplishment. What have you found to be some hacks? And I hate to use that. I'll take that back. How would you best recommend someone to really grow their following in an authentic way by serving, just as you've described?
Mm-hmm. So you first need to get followers. You need to have really about 1,000 followers to start getting on stages more easily and opening up your own rooms and people showing up. So to get to 1K followers, you're going to look for Clubhouse rooms. First, by the way, if you've not joined yet, Clubhouse at all, when you first join, go to rooms that are like welcome for a new Clubhouse. There's some really great how to get started on Clubhouse rooms. And so do that. Don't let any of that freak you out. There's rooms specifically for you that will teach you how to get started. Okay. But if you're just trying to grow your follower count, then what you're going to do in your hallway, which is what they call the place where all the rooms are listed, is look for rooms that say AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, or Q&A, or Speak and Listen. That means those are rooms where they let people come up on stage. Stage is the place where you can talk and unmute your mic. So if you're trying to grow a following, you want rooms that are just like that. When you get up on stage, you're going to go in the room, you're going to listen for like 10 minutes, know what they're talking about. Don't go in a room to raise your hand right away. Everyone knows you can listen and you just kind of come talk, and that does not make a great guest. So definitely listen for at least 10 minutes and then raise your hand. But when you get up on stage, you're going to do something like, hey, I'm blah, 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 and I blah, blah, blah. And you have to make that 15 seconds or shorter about who you are. And I'd like to know, and you ask a question. Now, what would be great for you if you say, in the room, I might say, hey, I'm Kim Walsh Phillips. I'm direct response social media marketer. And I've got over 1 million followers on Facebook, but I'm not sure where I should find my right fit clients here on Clubhouse. Have you been in any rooms where there are entrepreneurs that are trying to get more leads from social? So I'd ask a question while also kind of giving my whole bio. And that is a great way for people to know who you are. Go start checking your bio and then start following you. So you're going to go in Clubhouse rooms and ask questions so you can get more followers every time you do that. Plus, when you get followers, they're going to show up in the followed by speaker section, which is kind of like the VIP section, and you can get more followers that way. And then once you've hit 1,000 followers, you're going to, first of all, you're going to see once you hit 1,000 followers, you're going to get followers a lot more quickly because when a bigger number actually attracts more people. It's how our brain works. It's called tribe mentality. We protect ourselves by seeking a place that other people have already gone. So don't go hating on the system. That's just how it works. Our brain was made this way. And then when you have your Clubhouse rooms, make the titles really, really, really specific. Don't do something like marketing over coffee. What are you talking about with marketing? We don't know. So, but make it uber specific, and it's kind of like a specific headline for a masterclass. That would work well. So my Wednesday show is called 10X Course Launch Strategies. very specific what it's about and who it's for. I'll do like tips to become a best-selling author. Again, very specific. So when you're creating your room, create a title, but make it super specific, just like you would a masterclass.
Wow, that's excellent. Okay. So many questions I can ask you. How about this one? The biggest mistakes you see going on, whether on Clubhouse or anywhere right now by entrepreneurs?
The biggest mistake is either people sell at hello, which people aren't ready to buy at hello, or they never sell at all. They just leave it to like, I hope they contact me. I hope I get a sale. I hope I get a client. And hope isn't a strategy. We follow a formula called MOM, because mom knows best. Of course, this one right here. So M is be magnetic to your perfect prospects. So as soon as they look at your Facebook page, your Instagram page, your Clubhouse bio, they say, I know who this person is and who they serve, and I know why I should care. Right away, let them know that. That's M for magnetic. O, you want to get them to opt in. You want to give them a gift off of the platform so you can get them away from all of the distractions that are there. And then the final M is monetize. You're going to make an offer to buy from you or get on a coaching call with you. A consulting call with you right there on the thank you page for the opt-in.
Wow. That is so good, Kim. Wow. All right. I can't believe our time is quickly running, but I've got one last question for you. And that is, this is called the She is Extraordinary podcast. So I would love for you to share with our listeners an extraordinary woman in your life and what makes her extraordinary.
Extraordinary woman in my life would be Sabrina Truscott. She is a leader of a group called Satori Method, and they teach people how to tune into God and use their purpose and their gifts to heal other people from the pains they have in their life, their purpose missing, and they specifically work with people who are practitioners of in-person things like dance studios, Qigong, karate, and they teach them how to go online. And I got to meet her at a mastermind program. She and I hit it off right away. And we are like, it's just been awesome to have this friend going through life with, that we get both aspects of our life, personal and professional. And it's just like this awesome thing because each one of us will always like just get a thing. Okay, call her, message her. It's always in that moment that we need to hear from each other. And it's been super fun to have somebody who I get to see really feel nothing but glee when she wins in life, and she does the same for me. So it's been really great.
Wow. I love it. I haven't heard the word glee in a while. I love it, but it totally brings a visual for me. Well, thank you, Kim. And you are gracious to give our listeners a free workshop. The $250,000 Clubhouse strategy, how Kim generated over $250,000 in less than 2 weeks from Clubhouse. So that URL I'm going to put in the show notes. It's powerfulprofessionals.com/clubhouse. Well, Kim, thank you again. Anything on your heart you wanted to mention before we end for the day?
If you've been struggling, if it's felt really hard, if you sometimes question why, know that there is most likely a better way. Stop trying to figure it all out yourself. Seek somebody who has figured this out before and that you'd be willing to trade places with on the topic that you're most concerned about, because you weren't made to suffer. You weren't made to struggle. You weren't made to, quote unquote, pay your dues. You were made to thrive.
Wow. Love it. Beautiful. Kim, where's the best place for the ladies to reach out to you and find you?
Yeah. You just look up my name, Kim Walsh Phillips. I'm on every social media platform under that, and even my website. So you can find it right there, KimWalshPhillips.com.
Awesome. Kim, thank you again. Ladies, thank you for listening. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment, leave a rating and a review on iTunes. It means so much to us. And make sure you tell others about the podcast. Once again, thank you, Kim. And ladies, we'll see you next time.